Hey y'all, it's me, Sanera, back again on the scene. I didn't want to go too long without hopping on real quick, but I also don't like to force it either. You know what I mean? So I'm back, and this conversation is a conversation that I've had. If y'all hear any noise, it's because, of course, they wanted to wait until I start shooting my video to start doing some construction. But we gonna make it move, and we gonna make it groove, and we gonna make it do what it do. So anyway. So I was talking to one of my guy friends, which big up to my guy friends who always come through, who always hype me up and let me know how amazing I am, and who always give it to me real when it comes to, the men. And so I was chatting with one of my guy friends and we were conversing, and I was telling him how when I was young, I got scammed. And I think I've talked about it some years ago, but I never really went into detail about like what happened, like how I fell for the trap, like had me all twitching like I was on the trap, and how I got scammed out of around $8,000. So got a story like the head go. So I was young and I was 23 at the time, and I was newly separated from my kid's dad. And I decided to, because I was in a not so good situation and I was just finishing nursing school the first round, and I decided to move back up to Philly for a little bit with the kids just to get my footing and get my bearings, because I was ultimately in a city, in a state away from my family. And so I decided to move back up to Philly once I had finished nursing school, and I did so. So one day, I had a habit of, my grandma was really spoiled, because my grandma always spoiled us when we were kids. So, as an adult, like anything that I can do for MJ, it's going to get done. You feel me? So we used to have our little weekly crab night, lobster night, Now that I'm grown, I can go to the state store because, I'm from Philly, Pennsylvania. That's what they call it, the liquor store. And we would go get, that's the South Philly. Yes. Not changing that. Sorry. And so we went to the state store. I would go to the state store. I would go to ShopRite, the grocery store. I would get our seafood. I would come home after my 12-hour shift, and we would sit and eat our seafood and laugh and joke. So I'm going in, went, got our little cocktails. I'm going into the grocery store. As I'm pulling up into the parking spot, I noticed this red car. So I'm like, So I pull into my parking spot. As I'm getting out the car, he's standing there. The guy is standing outside the car, and he's fully dressed in scrubs. Now, the young, innocent 23-year-old me, naive me, thought like, oh, what does he do? Now, mind you, didn't even realize I had a target on my biz act. You feel me? I had the target on my biz act. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at him like, oh, look at this guy. And he's looking at me like, oh, look at this mark. And that I was, because he was more than 10 years older than me at the time. And now looking back on it, the scrubs were the ultimate finesse, because he was able to tell me that he was in radiology. Oh, his parents were doctors. So anyway, as I'm going into the store, he sees me, he's looking at me. He says, hi. All right, so we go in the store. He waited for me to come out. And it was so funny because my aunt was in the car, and she watched the whole transaction happen, and she was hyping me up. Didn't even realize she was hyping me up to get robbed. No, just kidding. But yeah, she hyped me up, and when I came out, he asked me for my number, and that's how it started. So in the past, I called this man the con man with the con plan, but he had the plan. The plan was I was one of many women. Of course, now that we look back, now where we are with technology, and we got the Tinder swindler and all this stuff, like he is the original, okay? Because I'm 41 now, and this man still comes up on my people you may know. Now, mind you, he's in radiology. His parents are doctors. He's self-sufficient. He's employed. This man had no job. This man didn't have any income. His income was being a swindler. And the red flags were there, but as a 23-year-old, hyped up by a 30, I want to say, was he 32, 33? At the time, being interested and acting like he's stepping when he really wasn't. But it was the energy, it was the perpetrating, it was the give him an Oscar, Denzel, a training day. Okay, it was all of that. And I knew something was wrong for real, when within 3 months of dating this man, I found out what his real name was. So this whole time, I'm thinking his name is one thing, and within 3 months, I find out that, his name isn't what his name is. And the crazy part is this man comes up on my people you may know on Facebook all the time, and it's still the fake name. And it's like, bro, you still out here? Y'all, please. Get an ID picture. Get an ID. Look at the ID, make sure it's correct. Because this man was dating me. I was dating this man, and I didn't even know his real name. Now, as a 23-year-old, I give myself grace. Now, as a 41-year-old woman, I have learned, get to know people, But he swindled me over the course of, I'll say about 10 months, because I met him within about a month and a half of me moving back, and I was up in Philadelphia for about 10 months. And he actually convinced me. He's the one, that's why I said, even in the downfall of everything and the fact that over that 10-month period of time, he got me for around $8,000 for different things. Oh, my car broke down. Oh, this, oh, that, and when the well ran dry, not even the well ran dry, but when I started going, no, figure it out. And then I started realizing that anyone that would be willing to take money out of my kid's mouth, you don't love me, and you don't love me. You don't love what comes from me. Because if you did, you would want to make sure that, I was doing the right thing. And doing the right thing isn't giving you all the extra money that I have over a 10-month period of time. And so, but he convinced me to move back to Florida. And the best thing he ever did was got ghost. He literally disappeared. He changed his number because I started setting boundaries and standing up for myself. And for a manipulator, once you set those boundaries and they see that you've drawn that line in the sand and they realize that they can't manipulate you anymore, it becomes too much of a hassle, especially when there's more marks out there, and of course I've always been a bigger woman. And even dealing with, guys and dating specifically in my younger years, I guess they felt like I should just be happy that, and even now, I'm going to, I had to pause for this cause, because even now, the vibe I get when I'm talking to and conversing with males who seem like they're interested in me in more than just a platonic way, a lot of work needs to be done, because they act like you're damaged goods, especially I'm 41, I have children. I've never asked anyone to do anything for my children in a relationship wise either. Even when I was married, I was very particular about ensuring that I was the one being responsible for my kids, partially probably because of trauma and not wanting somebody, if it didn't work, to be like, well, I did this, and maybe that was my hyper independence, because I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel safe enough to be able to go, but stop acting like because someone is different, bigger, taller, shorter, whatever, that they have kids or that they're not the prize, because anything I've ever touched, I made better. I didn't make it worse. And that's only due to the relationship that I have with God, and knowing that I want to have that good, I want my heart to really be what I say it is, right? So everything that I touch, I've always made better. So that experience in dating that man and realizing that people will take advantage of you, your vulnerability, and put you in a category that they feel you should go in, And I've had people be triggered by the fact that I thought highly of myself like I shouldn't. And that I've even had, I had my friend cracking up because I told him like right after that situation, like I had more guys try me. Like, sorry y'all, I had to edit out that interruption. But yes, I had this one guy literally tell me, he called me, he said, hey, and at this time, I think I was around like 25, 26. He's like, hey, and I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, I just want to let you know that, you know, you're not going to be able to talk to me. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, my phone is going to be cut off, so I'm not going to be able to talk to you until Wednesday. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to you Wednesday. And he got so upset with me because I refused to offer to pay his bill. But like I've said in previous videos, we should be learning from our experiences and not repeating the same mistakes over and over again, at least not in the exact same way. So, you know, one of the reasons why, and I assess when I'm conversing with someone and they're trying to engage in a romantic or more than a platonic way, I also have to ensure that I'm being vulnerable, but also making sure I'm seeing those red flags. You know, we're grown and everyone should be able to handle, you should be able to be, you know, a movement by yourself. We should just be, you know, a force together. You know, thank you for it. But I'm a force when we're together, baby. Yeah, you make me better. But anyway, yeah, you should be a movement by yourself. So if you can't be a movement by yourself, then work on being a movement by yourself. And then that way, when you know, find that person, y'all can be enforced together. But yes, I was scammed out of about $8,000. And I've never been scammed out of that much again. Because anything I've ever wanted to do for anyone, I always make sure it's done with good intentions and I feel like it's the right thing to do. But yeah, no, y'all, he got me. He got me good. But valuable lesson in self-worth and not feeling like you have to buy anything. I don't feel like I have to buy anything. I feel like what's meant for me is going to be for me. And it doesn't come at a cost. It's invaluable anyway, you know? So I focus on the things that aren't monetary, and it throws people off because I've had people block me and be weird to me because the strength I've had and the confidence that I've had and the fact that I wouldn't allow anyone to play with me in the regard of making me devalue my own self. And then they got scared because sometimes authenticity, and when a person has learned so much from their experiences and they know how to present the improvement or they know how to present kind of what I'm doing now. They know how to present a negative experience in a positive way, able to laugh about it, able to grow from it and not be too damaged. That you can realize that even in its horrible state, like it got me to where I am. So essentially I do want to thank the con man for the con plan, because ultimately he did force me to step out on faith. I did not want to be back home with my kids up there. And so I was able to come back down here and create a beautiful life for me and mine. But thank y'all for bearing with me. My sinuses are crazy. If y'all can hear me like coughing and clearing my throat, it's because they are clear. My sinuses are clearing themselves. But yeah, I just think it was very important for me to kind of give a little bit more detail. But y'all, he got me good. Ooh, he got me. But y'all, every time he pops up on the people, I was like, I don't know this man. And sorry to this man. Sorry to this man, because if I'm 41, he in his 50s, and he's still out here perpetrating a fraud. Y'all stay safe. Men, y'all stay safe too, because there's a lot of con artists out here. And with technology, people can fake everything. Can't fake authenticity though. You know, time gonna expose everything, y'all. Don't be rushing into it with no one. I see a lot of people jumping out of relationships and into other relationships. I'm like, y'all, just pace yourself a little bit. You know, get your footing back. You know, get yourself back grounded before you go jumping into something with someone else. Y'all, I am oiled down. My Sweet Promise Oiledy Rose. If y'all want to stay ashy, y'all can be ashy. I'm going to be growing and glowing. But yeah, do all that I just said. And I hope that it was a good video for y'all. I'll holler at y'all later. Yo!